Weaving is one of the topics in art and design, and it is defined as a process of interlacing a set of vertical threads called warps with a set of horizontal threads called wefts to create a fabric. There are several tools and equipment used to aid in weaving, and these are looms, shuttles, shed sticks, and beaters. As seen in this weaving process, it is practically impossible to weave physically without a device that is keeping those warps at tension so that the warp threads can be passed across. The main equipment needed is a loom. A loom is a device that is used to keep warp threads at tension so that the warp threads can be passed across. And there are different types. This is a dowel loom made out of twigs and sticks joined at the corners with strings or thread, and the warp threads go over the top and bottom. A serrated card loom is made out of a hardboard or paper cut at the top and bottom so that the warp threads can be secured tightly and be even. A frame loom is made out of pieces of well-cut wood joined together with nails at the top and bottom onto which the warp threads are wound on. A rigid heddle loom is more complex. This is the heddle, which is made with slats, vertical pieces with holes in the middle to hold stationary warp threads, and slits, spaces in between the slats which hold mobile warp threads. Slats, the pieces with a hole in the middle, have non-moving warp threads, while the slits have warp threads that move up and down. This loom has three main functions. 1. Beating warp threads while weaving. Beating is moving the warp threads tightly together. The second function is separating warps, done by the slats having stationary warp threads and the slits having mobile warp threads. The third is creating shades. A shade is a space in between warp threads where warp threads go in. When the heddle moves up or down, the mobile warp threads move also, creating that space called a shade so the warp threads can be passed across. An Inkle loom is made with wooden pegs onto which the warp threads are wound across. It is used to make narrow weaves like belts. These are tools used in weaving. A warping board is used to keep warp threads untangled before and while stretching them onto a loom. A warping mill serves the same function of holding the warp threads. A shed stick is used to create a space in between warp threads called a shade so that weft threads can go across. A shuttle is used to hold weft threads and also aid in passing them across the loom. A beater is used to beat down weft threads after weaving so that they are tightly packed together. On to actual weaving. There are 5 major weaves we learn. These are plain weaves where you have balanced, weft-faced, warp-faced, and open work. Twill weaves with 2 twills, 2 under 2 twill, and 3 under 1 twill. Twining weave, Giot's knot, and tapestry where you have slit, dovetail, interlock, and angle tapestry. The first plain weave is balanced plain weave where one weft goes under one warp over one warp repeatedly to create this pattern called balanced as the front and the back appear the same. The second plain weave is warp-faced plain weave where warps dominate with wefts visible at the edges. This is created when the number of warps are more than the wefts and they are tightly packed together. The third plain weave is weft-faced plain weave, where wefts dominate and is created when the number of wefts are more than warps and they are tightly packed together. The fourth plain weave is open work, created when weft threads go halfway across the loom and turn back, leaving a gap. This weave is used to create curtains and fabrics like sweaters. The first twill weave is 2 under 2 twill weave, where the weft thread goes under 2 warp threads, then again over 2 warp threads repeatedly, creating this diagonal pattern, which is the twill weave's main characteristic. The 3 under 1 twill weave is created when the weft thread goes over 3 warps, then again under 1 warp thread repeatedly to create the characteristic diagonal pattern. Twining weave is created when 2 different colored wefts intertwine on each warp thread. Giot's knot is created by tying a knot around 2 warp threads, creating a tuft. This weave is used to create mats and fluffy carpets. The first tapestry weave is called Slit Tapestry, and it is created when two different colored wefts moving from opposite ends meet at the center, leaving a space. The main characteristic of tapestry weaves is the different bands of colors created when using different colored wefts. The second tapestry technique is called interlock, and it is created when different colored wefts entwine when they meet before turning back. The third tapestry weave is called dovetail, and it is created when different colored wefts all turn back on the same warp thread before going back. Angle tapestry is the fourth tapestry, and it is created when the wefts turn back on subsequent warps, creating a diagonal pattern. Woven fabrics have to be finished to prevent unraveling by 1. Use of knots, where the loose threads are tied up into a knot. 2. Hemming. The fabric is folded, then sewn at the edges. Or 3. Sewing up the edges or selvages of the woven fabric by the use of a needle and thread. Some defects occur while weaving, and the commonest are warping or sagging, formed when the warp threads aren't tight enough, or the warp threads are pulled too tight, or they are too heavy. Different holes can also be created during the weaving process when a step is skipped, or during to cutting or tearing. Knots are formed when the thread breaks and has to be tied at the ends when weaving.